suddenly, like, we open back up, and then a month later, we're holding huge conventions again. It just
No.
doesn't seem safe. So I don't think that there will be a con season this year. I honestly don't think that there will be a con season next year either. I
Oh,
I
wow.
I just I have trouble believing that, like, until there's herd immunity or a vaccine, that tens of thousands of people are going to want to go out of their house to a place and risk getting sick, because many people already get sick at conventions anyway.
I also
Very
think
true.
we're going to see
also
a
don't
big.
think that
I think we're going to see a big transition. I think from university students going, wait a minute, why am I? Well, how come I haven't been doing this online the whole time? And people who didn't work remotely now are going to go, oh, geez, I can work remotely. I'm just going to do that from now on. I think we're going to see a huge shift next year, and in just isolation because it's convenient and cheap. Like you said, things like with the stock market, it crashes and ordinary people don't notice. I know for me personally, like the whole social distancing concept, this is about as social as I get. So it's really not having much of an impact on my life. I almost wonder if that's part of the plot, is they're trying to get this, make it a little bit more normal to ease into the world of AI and just online or cloud-based interactions, I guess. Is that?
I don't know. I would have a hard time believing. So I didn't think there was any chance that we would not have San Diego Comic-Con, but then we closed down like literally the entirety of the Western world, pretty much, and I'm now like, I did not think that, like, there is no way that anyone would want the economy to tank in the way that it has. Like, assuming there is somebody in power, like there's a group in power that are trying to do things, I don't have zero chance believe that they would want a 10% reduction in the GDP of the world for like a quarter, because like that's bad for earnings.
Yeah. I think we had our chance in 2008 and we missed it. If that was the goal, 2008 was our opportunity, and we screwed it up.
Unless if 2008 was the test run, and now they know exactly where to put the money, so they know where to get the best bang for the buck when they come out of it.
Well, start buying gold.
Maybe.
Trade in your Bitcoin and buy gold, Gord.
Yep. I'm keeping my Bitcoin. It's all going to be about Bitcoin. That's it.
I bought Bitcoin when it was at 16,000. So like, I don't even look at my Bitcoin anymore because it's at like 3 now.
I sold I didn't sell. I basically a girl bought a hard drive, and she mailed it to me. I filled it with all the music and random shit that I had. And she paid me $130 in Bitcoin. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. A week later, it was worth $125. I'm like, well, that's not very cool. And it's dropped down. The lowest so far it dropped down to was $62. And I was like, shit, that really dropped down. And it is officially up to almost $80 again. So I'm climbing back up.
Nice. I still maintain Bitcoin is going to be the MySpace of cryptocurrency. Something's going to come up behind it.
I'm hoping it's the Instagram of currency.
I will never
Instagram.
So other than a really great website, which is the completecreative.com, people can find you at. Where's we can't plug con season. What can we plug for you that you would like our meager little group of listeners to know about?
Well, I have a very good podcast called The Complete Creative, where I interview creators about how they built and sustain their business. We talk about creativity. We talk about audience building. We talk about specific projects. I've had people like Dr. Deborah Holland come on and talk about burnout in the creative community. I had Marv Wolfman come on and talk about what it was like to create the Teen Titans Richard Starkey's been on my show, who lettered Killing Joke. I've had Hugo winners, had Eisner winners. I've had just very high level discussions about how to be more productive and all sorts of amazing talks. There's almost 200 episodes between The Complete Creative and the backlog for my previous show, The Business of Art.
And I think some people don't really
you can find
consider if you are a creative and you do happen to make it. I've had a little tiny bit of a taste of that with music. I don't think people foresee how much work it is and how much of a business you have to treat it as. So getting that kind of advice is really important. You don't just get to be creative all the time. It's a tremendous amount of, like a day job, really.
It's absolutely a day job. And so I try to break down and demystify on The Complete Creative. But I don't know. I feel like I need to come up with a more fun way to talk about the show, because it's really like two six-figure creatives who are like talking about their careers and like having fun doing it and talking about like making stuff. So it's quite a bit more fun, I feel like, than I feel like when I talk about it, it feels much stuffier than the show actually is. Show's basically like, I'm a six-figure creative. I interview other six-figure creatives about like how they built their career and how they sustain their career, and like also how they make things and how and the problems and the successes and what like success even means. And it's it's I don't know, there's a lot of really good podcasts, but mine is also one that is quite good, and specifically because I have been quite successful and I'm able to dig deep on some of the things that like other shows can't, because they have not lived it, whereas I have lived that experience, and now I am digging deep on those topics with people that I've always wanted to talk to. So The Complete Creative, if you like podcasts, is a good one to check out. You can find it on any of the podcast players or on thecompletecreative.com/podcast.
And I highly recommend checking out the website, because it's a great site.
Well, thank you. We just did a massive 10,000 word blog post on how to run a live virtual convention. We just did one, and I literally laid out step by step what tech you need, where to go, how to develop a program, and pretty much everything you need to run your own virtual conference. And you can find that one at thecompletecreative.com/virtual conference. That's what I'm planning one in a couple of weeks, and then one in a month. And I'm going to be running a lot of these virtual conferences because that's where the world is going. And I'm trying to do really like niche ones. We're doing one on writers. So maybe you would like one, Eric. It's this one's called the Online Writers Convention, the Online Writers Conference. We booked Tim Powers and Kaja Folio, Jody Lanai from Myth Ventures. We plus like a whole bunch of amazing guests to talk about developing an idea, writing an idea, setting the story, world building, marketing, publisher. We're going to have a couple of publishers on. We're trying to get one of the publishers from Random House to come on. And
cool.
It's a really, really cool thing that's going to happen the 17th and 18th live, completely free on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter and Facebook at onlinewritersconference.com.
I will check that out.
And
I really like this virtual thing that's going on. It's really neat. Everyone's doing these virtual things. My mother's husband's obsessed with NASCAR, and they did virtual racing this weekend, where there was no one. They were all at home in simulators, and it was shown on TV. It looked like a race. It was really kind of neat.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that, all of this stuff. I feel like there's going to be a glut of it, and then people are going to push back and pull back in like 6 months when this whole thing either has died down or become normal. And my goal is to have run enough of these conferences by then that I can pick the ones that are really good and just keep running them pretty consistently, at least once a year, because it's it's actually pretty easy to run a virtual conference. It was much easier than I thought. I mean, granted, I've run a podcast for a long time. I do a lot of video, and I've done a lot of conferences, so it all fit into my wheelhouse. But it was quite a bit. It actually functioned pretty easily, and I'm excited to run more and to have that live interaction with fans. I don't get live interaction that often,
and I would think that participation, like attendance, would probably be better than you would expect, just because it's that much easier to attend. Realistically, if I can go to a conference without leaving my room, I'm in heaven.
Well, unless you have like 50 options of conferences, and then like it becomes hard. I would say we had about 30 people watching consistently, like literally different 30 people, but throughout the convention for 3 days, over 13 hours with like 2 days of planning. We had a good 30 people watching consistently throughout the whole thing, which, I mean, it's basically a classroom of people. And we probably hit about 150 to 200 people over that weekend, and literally over 2 days of we had 2 days to plan it. And there were questions, and there were art demonstrations, and it was just a really fun time. And I'm looking forward to doing that at onlinewritersconference.com. And you can sign up and check it out. The page is not completely built yet, but it will be in a couple of days. That's going to happen on April 17th and 18th. And then if you just want to check out my books, you can go to russellnolte.com/mail, join our mailing list, and get a couple of free issues of our comic.
Which I've done, by the way.
Awesome. And
well done,
I signed up earlier.
Nice.
I'm just going to inundate you with horrible comic ideas that I've had over the years, and incomplete little sketches. And
that's cool. I won't publish any of them.
Oh no! I would certainly hope not.
But yeah, you can. It's. I try to. I mean, if you like mythology and monsters, that's my writing side. So I really try to break both sides up. So the Complete Creative is the educational wing of Wannabe Press, but they function as two separate things. So if you're into like the creative process stuff of like how to build a business, how to be a creative, then the Complete Creative is for you. And there's resources there, free courses, epic blog posts, and my podcast. If you're a reader, then if you like mythology and monsters, fantasy thriller, that is on russellnolte.com. And then you can see all of my books, sign up for our mailing list. And the two don't overlap very often.
I do want to add just to our listeners
about things that readers.
Any of our listeners who may be interested, they both the Complete Creative. It's not over your head. It's comprehensive. It's easy to understand. It kind of feels like it's a welcoming website. It's not like it's not a bunch of really successful people looking down on you. It's really helpful. It was really fun to go through today. So anyone who's
so much, that really means a lot. I try and keep it.
Yeah,
try and keep it conversational.
You've done a great job, and you're right. It doesn't. There isn't a lot of crossover there, but it's both sites are. It seems like you've just found a way to make it as enjoyable for whoever, whatever you're trying to access. You're going to have a good time doing it, and that's difficult to find these days, and it's very, very cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, we used to have a much smaller audience, and when we had a smaller audience, I kind of combined them together. But as our audience grew, I got more and more people saying, I don't care about this thing, or I don't care about this thing. So it really became apparent that we should split them up, and it makes things much easier, because now the people that want the process advice can find it very easily, and the people that just want to have entertainment and extract value from like fantasy and sci-fi and that kind of stuff can find it there too. So
that is very quickly going to happen to this show, because every email we get on this show is, I don't care what Eric has to say. So we're going to have to separate me and Gordon in the near future, definitely.
That's dangerous.